Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Race 8 in the Masters SA Winter 2021 series. And welcome to my co-hosts, Aaron Burrell and Sean Peters.
Hey, how's it, guys? Welcome to it. Race number 7 of the series. A great one this evening out in France. And Aaron, I'm going to leave you with the pronunciation of this one. I sort of got it, but I'll let the guy that's closer to that country.
Come on, man. I said to Quibus, firstly, hey, Sean. Hey, Quibus, good to see you again. But before we went live, I actually said to Quibus, I'm going to put Sean on the spot and get him to pronounce this.
I'll do it. Hold on. Let me try this. And if I do get it wrong, you can drag me severely under the bus. Aaron, I'll give you full rights to take me apart. It's Caspat.
Pretty much, yes.
Not bad.
Well, and I know the literal meaning as well. It's a leg breaker or a leg snapper.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken.
Very interesting. Someone's done his homework.
Yeah, of course. Well, I'm a professional commentator.
But yeah, interesting course tonight for the boys. I think that the boys and girls, to be politically correct, I think we're in for a really good race tonight. It's a little different to the previous courses we've seen, just because there's so much diversity on offer in terms of the topography. So I think we're going to see more of a spread. We're going to see different names in the mix, probably early on into the first lap, and then we're going to see the group sort of whittle down on the Petit Com. So the course is made up of 2 climbs. One I wouldn't call a climb; it's more a little bump. It's the Aqueduct Com reverse.
Yeah.
That will probably come around 13.2 kilometers in. And then they've got the Petit Com, which is going to separate the men from the boys and the girls from the ladies. And that's going to come at around 17.6. And we can expect our leading men to do that climb in under 4 minutes 30. It's going to be tough. It's not particularly steep. We've got an average gradient of around 3.94%, but it's the speed at which the guys go up. And, it depends on what kind of attacks we're going to see coming off the front. We know Gus Aquino is known for that. It's going to cause a significant elastic band effect. And guys at the back are literally going to be suffocating to try and hold on to the tail.
And all the usual suspects out there for race number 7.
Yeah, we've got the usual suspects out here. We've got Eddie Hull, we've got Tiens van der Bank, Gus Aquino, as I mentioned, Christian Janssen van Rensburg, and Jorge Mourinho. Those are the ones that I've sort of earmarked that are going to potentially do well. I know Tiens on the chat was saying that he's going to chill at the back today, but I think a parkour such as this really suits him. Combination of sprints and climbs, and I think if he does apply himself, he's going to do really, really well today. And then we've got some of the regulars. Donovan Lecoq is back. I think he's in with a good shot. So is Murray Craig, who proved that last year. And then someone we haven't really mentioned of late, Michael Rowland.
He was up there last week.
Yes, he's been getting progressively better week in, week out. And his 20-minute power is now up to around 5 watts a kilo. And he might be able to use it and exercise it up the climb. But hard to tell how it's going to play out, guys, but we'll always make that call halfway in and see who's on the money.
There we go. So the start is underway. We're about 200 meters into the race. Race number 7 here from France. As you've just heard, all the usual suspects out there, a great bunch of riders. In fact, we're looking at about 200, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Quibus.
145. It's not bad.
The numbers, very cold out in South Africa, so a lot of our Cantonians maybe just finding it a bit cold to get onto their trainer.
We hear half of Western Europe is underwater, and the other half is dying of heat exhaustion, Aaron.
Yeah.
Apparently so. The houses aren't kitted out to deal with this kind of heat, so there's a lot of complaining and people walking around in Speedos, which is not nice to see. But
oh wow! First sprint section already. Sorry, guys. The sprint competition, I think, is going to be decided tonight because we have 5 marked sprint sections this evening.
Yeah.
So that's quite a close run battle between Tiens van der Bank and Waldo Zevenster.
Very, very cool. And we know these sprint sections have a propensity for stringing out the bunch. You know, if you're not attentive to those moves up front, you can find yourself hovering off the back quite quickly. So guys that are listening, even if you're not competing in the sprint, it's probably worth just cranking out a little more watts just to stay in contact.
Definitely. So, sorry, you were saying, Aaron, Haas is not equipped for the heat.
No, everything is created for insulation, because I think last winter we averaged around 0, I think. So it's pretty cold, and the houses have central heating, but they're not geared for extreme heat. So our house, or where I'm sitting now, it's literally a sauna. So it's probably hotter than it is outside. It's 33 outside. It's probably 40 where I am now. I'm not going to raise my arms because you're going to see some horrible sweat patches.
Incredible stuff. Just chatting about that heat wave, you say it's been 5 days already. I know up in Silverstone on Saturday, Max Verstappen gets to the starting grid and left-hand side front wheel ablaze. I know we should be talking cycling, but just to let our viewers know, that's how hot it is. Completely not the norm in the UK at the moment. So incredible scenes from this last weekend's race. And if you guys can hear me.
Yeah, your volume's a little bit low, Sean. So just speak up for us, and you'll be fine.
All right, I'm going to get it sorted out now, guys.
Okay, so this is quite steady still. But it's not long before we hit that first little bump.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think that's going to have any bearing on this group right now. The guys are going to hit it hard. It's going to be a max effort, but it's too short to cause any real damage to the bunch. It's probably more of a section where you can warm up your legs than anything else.
Isn't that quite similar to the leg snapper segment, which is not a com in Innsbruck?
It's a little easier, I'd say. It's not as steep. So the gradient, I think the gradient's around 5 or something. So it just kicks up in the middle section and then flattens off at the top. So it's nothing really to be concerned with. But yeah, I mean, I always suggest accelerating into a climb like that. So try and be on the power before, because sometimes there's a little bit of a delayed response from the trainer with the information coming back from Zwift, the application. So I'd suggest putting down the power probably 10 meters to just before you turn left to get up onto the com.
It's interesting you say that it's slightly easier. I would have expected slightly tougher leg snapping conditions out here.
Well, the second climb was certainly harder.
Yeah.
The second climb is what's going to be sort of casting fear into the legs of the guys here, because it's also not as tough, but there's some horrible switchbacks towards the top. There's little sections of flatness between the switchbacks. But if we're going to see attacks, which we will, I mean, we know this for a fact. We know the style that some of these guys like to ride at. It's going to get strung out, and it's going to be a max effort up there. But something like the Aqueduct Com, it requires just a little burst of power, 30 seconds of power, and then it flattens off, and there's a small descent, and then they're in for a little bit of a breather before they get onto the real climb.
Yeah. And it's marked in red, so it obviously means danger to the legs. How's the volume, guys? Are we
Much better.
Cool.
If you guys want a bit of history, that particular section of the route is based on the aqueducts near Nîmes. When the ancient Romans wanted to build the city of Nîmes at the time, there was no usable water source nearby, and they had to essentially use canals to run water to where the city was founded, and that included dealing with the topography of the countryside, and that particular piece, well known, crosses a valley, where they had to elevate this canal way above the valley, because obviously there were no pumps at the time, so you had to ensure your source was higher than your destination at all times. And when they founded that city, it was the largest city in the world that wasn't located next to its primary water source. Today, that honor in fact goes to Joburg, if you can believe it. That's the largest city in the world that isn't located near its primary water source.
Wow, that is incredible.
Guys, I'm just looking at the live watts per kilo averages, and it's quite a sedate pace today. The guys know what's coming, and they're riding quite economically. Either that or no one wants to go. But I think this is the wise approach. It's a long race. This is going to be another one just under an hour. So I think it's wise to sort of sit in, conserve as much as you can, and then we're going to see a monumental battle up that fatigue comment. It's something I'm really looking forward to.
Wie so haastig? Asks Mr. Lowe. There's Donovan Lecoq. Let's give him a thumbs up. The last time we raced this course, guys, we only did a single lap. So that was really fast and furious. I think the game's... Yes, this is somewhat different, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be different. I actually did this course in January as part of the London lockdown series, and we did 3 laps, and it was around 71.5 Ks, 1.5 hours of racing. Wasn't enjoyable going up that climb 3 times. But there's a little bit of a reprieve on the other side, a nice little descent where the guys can recover and then repeat.
Now, great to see Donovan Lecoq, our Southern Suburbs friend. Good to see him back here. Also, just noteworthy that I know you did mention his name earlier, Aaron, is Christian Janssen van Rensburg definitely showing like he's coming back to form. We know that he maybe went through a little bit of a break. He had a lot of racing under his legs, and personally, I'd like to see him back right up front there. We know he's good for it.
Yeah, he showed moments of his talent last week. He did really well, and hoping he does sort of bring that to the fore today. This course also suits him, so I'm sure Quibus will agree with that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This is precisely the kind of punchy course that Christian likes. A guy like Donovan certainly would like it as well. Maybe the climb's a little bit long for him, but
if you can go onto Eddie's live view of Eddie, it'll be very interesting to see what you make of his name that he's got currently put on there. I'll talk a little bit about it.
Maybe that's why I haven't spotted him yet. Is this him, Eddie Cool?
Yeah.
Wait.
There's a reason for that. There's a reason for Eddie Cool. Last week in the Zwift Classics race, Nathan Guerra and Dave Toll were getting slightly confused with the pronunciation of some of the riders. There's a chap from Wahula Cole called Hal Davies. There's obviously a Gaelic spelling of his name, and they couldn't pronounce it. So what Hal did was change his surname to Towel.
At least that gave them the right pronunciation.
Gave them the right pronunciation. And what Nathan and Dave are doing to Eddie is his name has been, or they pronounced it Hooli, Oily, and recently Oily.
Oily. Jole.
So what Eddie's done here is deliberately put his name as Cool to give them an idea that in actual fact his surname is pronounced Hool. So for those that were thinking, who is this man on the front?
It's Eddie. It's Eddie Cool.
It's Eddie Cool. He's keeping quite cool tonight, it seems.
I was just going to say, he seems very cool at the moment.
I kind of like that name. I think he should keep it as Eddie Cool. Pretty cool. Yeah.
You could for that live feed that he usually generates.
It'll be a pretty good DJ alias, you know.
Cool. Certainly, if he was based in the 70s, DJ Eddie Cool.
with that hair of his, he kind of does look like he's based in the 70s.
Yeah, 70s DJ.
Okay, Eddie, cool.
Great French dish.
We know where you headed when you hang up your bike.
Well, as we can see here, guys, the bunch is still quite nicely together. I think Rudy Kellerman is in here as well still, which is kind of what I alluded to earlier. We're going to see a lot of different names, which is great. It's great to see some of the other guys seeing their names in lights for a change. The other courses have sort of lent themselves to the more sort of punchier climber style riders, where there's a combination of everything in this route. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. That Aqueduct.com is around 3 kilometers away, and that's probably going to be an area where we're going to see the first sort of surge of the day. And as I said before, start putting your power down before the climb, because it just helps the trainer react a little bit more and will probably save you from getting slung out the back.
Yeah,
That only works on shorter little climbs though. It's not going to work on the Petit Com, because then you will cook yourself.
Well, it'll help for the first 500 meters.
Yeah, and then cheers. Thanks for coming.
Well, I've got Eddie Hall's live feed up on the screen next to me, and quite an interesting view is to see the rider actually grinding it out. Just out the corner of my eye, good to see 2 track racers, guys that race superbikes, hitting each other head to head there, and Donovan Lecoq and McFadden. I think, Aaron, you would know the McFadden's a great racing motorbike racer, in fact, a 600 superclass competitor, and look at these guys going neck on neck here as we speak. They're very, very cool.
I guess people don't realize that there's a lot of fitness in racing those bikes. And quite a lot of motocross riders end up becoming talented mountain bikers.
Yeah, or look at our current SA champ. I mean, he's Matt Beers. That's where he crossed over from, and the tall man himself. And that's usually gets told to us that the tall guys don't feature. And look at Matt Beers; he just absolutely destroys it every time he gets onto that mountain bike.
Speaking of that, SA champs, or previous SA champs, I guess. When is the Olympic cross country in Tokyo taking place?
I think it's Wednesday next week.
Oh, that's great.
Odd time to have a cross country race, but I don't think anyone's going to be complaining for some midweek action.
No, absolutely.
What Mr. Alan Hatherley does is had such a superb season, finishing on the podium in the last few races. I mean, we need to understand that top 5 is a podium on cross country Olympic. And he's been mixing it up there, finishing ahead of Nino in some of the races, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, that's going to be a brilliant one to watch. And we know Alan Hatherley's got it in his legs, and he's definitely a spirited young guy. So going to be very interesting to see that race next week. And yeah, as you said, first put you up onto the podium.
That would be great. Fantastic. Yeah, he has said the course suits him, so let's hope he peaks at exactly the right time.
And then our ladies, Candice Law will be heading out to compete.
Wonderful. And the road race is on Sunday morning at 4 a.m. South African time.
Sure.
I'm glad they're getting the cycling sort of done at the start before COVID, potentially derails the rest of the games, potentially.
And strange, the announcement, only Stefan de Bort, I don't quite understand why only he got the announcement. Maybe, Aaron, maybe you know something a bit more about that.
I don't have any other feedback on that. I've just been hearing murmurings about the games as a whole being called off.
Oh, really?
Really?
Usually where there's smoke, there's fire. Don't quote me, but there is murmurings of the games being called off because of positive cases within the Race Village bubble.
Wow. I wouldn't be surprised.
Potentially damaging.
And then odd if you look at this past weekend, 140. I think they were at max capacity at Silverstone, 141,000 spectators on the Sunday and 110 on the Saturday.
Absolutely nuts.
Silverstone is the and will be the most participated live sports event of the year.
Yeah.
Here we go, guys. We're on the aqueduct. Eddie eating it out, 10 watts a kilogram. He's keeping it comfortable. He's keeping it cool. But the heart rate is spiking. This is going to string it out. There's Marino. There's Donovan Lecoq who's mixing it up here. Christian Janssen van Rensburg's up here. If these guys can keep it going, they might be able to get a small gap. Whether or not they can hold it on the other side is another topic to debate completely. But I reckon with these three guys here off the front, it could be quite interesting. Gustavo's trying to bridge over as well. I saw some orange numbers flashing out. And we can get a good group of guys here, a really strong group. You can see there's three at the moment. That can stay away. I think it can.
It shouldn't, though. It's still such a long way to go. And there's such a big group chasing behind.
And I'm just looking at the screen here, 700, well, he just peaked at 780 watts at 72 RPM at a heart rate of 186 is Eddie Hool. Eddie Cool, sorry. Eddie Cool.
Eddie Cool.
For the moment, it actually looks like they're letting themselves be brought back.
Yeah, it does look that way. I reckon if you can get five to 10 guys, you can make the group work for it. And it will work in their favor because then the chasing group's at an exhaustion point at the base of the climb, and that's going to string it out again. So I would have thought that these guys would have pushed the pace a bit just to get the chasing bunch working a bit harder, just to hurt their legs a bit, but it's all come back together. Perhaps it's that added lap that has done this, but I think we saw last year a similar tactic where the guys went slightly hard off the front in between climbs, which caused a horrible elastic band effect.
Yes, the climb's perfect for that kind of attack.
Yeah.
We'll certainly see some of that in the second lap, assuming somebody isn't off the front already at that stage.
Yeah, it's just under 2Ks to the climb, so there's going to be some anxious riders in the bunch. It's never fun going up that climb at all, and especially at the pace we're going to see.
Noticed Peter Matthijssen also jumping to the top of that group of riders and then dropping back again, also just in the mix. It's great to see him out there.
Yeah, Rudy Kellerman's still here. Front of the group, in fact.
What did I say, guys? What did I say?
David Garrett also in the mix there now. Aquino all the way down towards the back of that group. I don't know which feed is quicker to be watching. Maybe I should just stick to our standard feed, huh?
Yeah, that'll be live, the one you're getting via Zoom.
Yeah. So incredible stuff from France. And on board with Mr. Eddie Cool. I'm sure our co-commentator there from England is going to guide us through as they get to where all the action is going to start heating up. That's probably in the next 2 or 3 Ks, if I'm not mistaken.
Just under 2 Ks.
Yeah.
A good way, I'm sure that a lot of guys have already done some course recon, but to bring you up to speed, that the Petit Com is coming when we pass through the sort of the lavender fields and the sunflowers. It's about to show itself, and it's usually, there's a fork in the road. Usually on one of the other courses, you can stay right, which takes you through a whole bunch of S-bends, also pretty nasty to negotiate, or to pop left, and that's where they're going. Poor souls.
So we're going to see that very shortly.
Yeah.
Nice little leading pack of riders. Nice mixed up group of names coming through there.
Yeah, we're almost there. I think we're practically there, Sean. We're probably going to see an initial surge of orange numbers The guys are going to want to stay as close to the front runners as possible. We're going to see a massive bunch string out here. But don't give up. I mean, if I can just encourage some of the guys, I mean, the climb has started right now. Don't give up. Be wise with your positioning. There is a draft effect. The climb only averages at around 5%. You can draft, and just be wise. Don't burn your matches too soon.
It's only 2.7 kilometers
Yeah, that's absolutely insane.
at an average of 4%.
Yeah.
No, it's not that tough. I guess it's as tough as the guy at the front makes it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it depends how they're going to take lap one. We have seen a rather sedate pace today. It's probably going to ramp up quite significantly on lap two, but I don't see them riding this climb at a leisurely pace. I still think they're going to do it in under 4 minutes 30.
Oh, that's quite a quick time.
And you can already see this guy's falling off the back. And some power-ups are being fired now. Usually the first signs of pain in the legs. But we've got Sarel low off the front, not afraid to attack. Eddie Hull is going to bridge and probably ride straight past him.
Wow,
Which he
there we
does.
go.
Sorrel was the one complaining about everyone being in a hurry earlier.
He looks in a big hurry, Sarel.
Ooh, 193 BPM.
He's on the limit there unless he can go past 200 like Christian. We won't know.
Christian has gone past 200. I remember the correct number, but he's now disputing whether or not it was a heart rate malfunction or a heart rate monitor malfunction. I told him I'm sticking to my story.
Got Murray Craig in this group again. He did really well on this climb last year. I think it does suit the big man. And we're going to see him bridge with this group for sure. Some big
Marino here.
Yeah, some big watts. I mean, the guys are sitting now at around 6.5 just to stay with this group here, and you can see it stringing out there.
David Garrett also still here.
Very nice selection here up the front. These are all the names that we've mentioned before. And there's Murray. Speak of the devil, there he is, cranking out the watts, making it look easy. 163 BPM.
Yeah.
The Craig Express.
And as Aaron said, you can start seeing how it starts snaking up. It starts ramping up those meters.
There on the aerial map there as well. Gives you an idea of what's still left. Quite a lot. But as they approach the next few switchbacks, it does flatten out quite significantly in between the switchbacks, which you can use quite nicely for draft. If you haven't made the selection now, it's an area where you're going to get caught out because you're not going to be carrying the same speed as the bunches. That's why I mentioned it was very important to sort of draft with these guys as much as you can, because when that section of the climb does come, there's a lot of speed to be made up.
And the group in front's just going to get away from you.
Yeah.
And Aaron, for folks that have maybe just joined us, warm welcome to them. When they hit those rumble strips like you just saw there now, that paved section, does that change any dynamics on the trainer?
It does. That will add a bit of resistance. I mean, it was just a small patch, and then and then riders on Tax Neos will actually feel feedback through the bike trainer.
So to the folks that have just joined us, and you might not know how that works, the trainer will actually give a feedback. So it would be a sort of a rumble through the saddle of the bike.
Here we go, guys. They've gone over the top already. Eddie's gone through. Very important that this chasing bunch now works together. There's a massive descent coming. I predicted under 430. It looks like they did 431. So kind of there. If you don't find yourself in a group on this descent, you're going to fall out the back very, very quickly, because the snowball effect of the super tuck and the group is going to outrun 1, 2, 3 riders. So very important that you get into a bunch on this descent. Eddie's going to probably sit up and wait for them, unless he rolls the dice. That's one thing about Eddie. You can't rule out anything. He's up for a challenge. He's up for just making things happen. But he's in the super tuck now, getting a bit of a breather, heart rate dropping.
Yeah, he's finally sat down.
Let's see who made the cut here.
Nice selection, yeah. There's a nice selection of guys that have made the cut. Donovan's here, Marino's here, Aquino's here, Sorensen, David Garrett, Murray Crabe, Christian, all the big names.
Okay,
All
and
the usual suspects.
Eddie's sitting up. He's gonna, or sitting up or sitting down on his top tube. He's getting caught.
He sat down for literally a second while you were chatting there. He's back out of the saddle now, and just
Yeah.
grinding those teeth. He's reaching for just a quick sip of the water. He sips of the water. He's quite a gentleman. He puts it down next to him. He doesn't throw it alongside the road. So well done, Eddie.
Because his wife would leave him.
Yeah. And there we go. Just chatting about it. He's back out of the saddle, grinding. His teeth are clattering as he's trying to gasp for air. So just
Look at
some of the
that
live
gap,
feed
guys.
that I'm seeing.
That's a big gap. We've got 12, 17, 30 seconds off the back here. Tim Hook is in the chasing bunch, Captain Hook. I expected him to get over, boys. But really, really impressed with Donovan's ride today, guys. The way he sort of sat into the approach, timed the aqueduct quite nicely, and then was just controlling the pace up this climb. Obviously, he let Eddie go. Eddie was going for the time, but the way he controlled the pace, didn't fall back, made sure that he was in the top third. Excellent riding.
I'm just looking up at Eddie. He's watching that screen quite tentatively. He's making sure that he's seeing what's happening around him. The guys have caught up to him. He's been reeled in. Obviously, Aaron, you'd know his tactics a little bit more here. As we're on board with Lecoq on the live stream, I'm just on Eddie now, just watching what he's doing. And great to see this aspect that I've got it on tonight, just being able to watch a couple more angles of the race.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing more the guys can actually do now. What they needed to do up that climb, which is what they did, was establish a selection, which is what they've done. It's going to be very, very tough for the chasing group to bring this back, especially if these guys work well together. For Eddie and some of the front runners, or the guys who feel that they have the ability to jostle for the win, they're going to sit in here and recover. It's recovery mode now. It's pretty flat going back into the start-finish area. And from there, they just repeat it all over again. So this is a very well-established break. It's grown by another 7 seconds now. So the nearest rider is at 30 seconds back. It's going to be very difficult to bring this back, guys.
And even if they do, they'll be baked relative to these guys, right? The gap's so massive, they could just sit up and recover for 4 minutes waiting to be caught.
Really good to see David Garrett up here again. Really talented rider, one of the nicest guys around. And, he had some really good success last season. And I think today he's feeling really good.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Good to see Dave. Well done, David. He's watching us as we speak. So how's it, David? Great to see you up there. A name that we haven't mentioned this evening, Valdes Zevenstad. Where is that young lad? The tall man of cycling is nowhere to be seen. I hope he's okay.
He's not as tall as Peter Avenant, apparently. Peter Avenant could possibly play lock for the Springboks. He's so tall. Looking at his height figure right now, 1.98 meters tall.
Yeah.
That's a colossal.
I think he takes it. He definitely takes it.
He gets the tall man award. That's for sure.
Wow.
Let's see where Valdu is. Valdu looks like he's 4 minutes back.
Valdu's all about the sprints, right? He's right up
He's
there.
a sprinter.
contesting against Tiens for that jersey. So maybe that's what he's prioritizing, or maybe he just didn't make the selection because he was certainly there over the initial climb. He was in that front group. I saw him, but I don't think he made the cut.
I don't see Peter today. I see some of his teammates from Dirt.
He was entered, but I haven't seen him.
No, he was in there.
Oh, he was in there.
Yeah, he has dropped back though.
But we've got a selection of 12 guys here. This is prime for a breakaway that's going to stay away.
Yeah, definitely. Most of the names are here. With Gustavo and Marino here.
Yeah, it's been a quiet race for Gustavo. Which is
I only saw him off the front once today.
yeah, I think it's worrying for the guys. I'd be worried because he's riding a very sort of conservative race, meaning he's going to have a lot of stores available to call upon.
I was just going to say
part of the race.
That's definitely maybe a tactic that he's using. He's keeping it in reserve, and we might see him attack a little bit later.
Can we check on Zwift Power what the normalized or the average watts per kilogram have been up to now, Aaron?
So in the top 12, which is the breakaway right now, the max average watts is Eddie Hull sitting at 4.8, Murray Crabe is at 4.3, Gustavo's at 4.4, Christian's at 4.5, David's at 4.5, Rick Sorensen's at 4.5. Trying to find Donnie. I don't see. Oh, there's Donnie. Donnie's at 4.4. So
he's done well.
Yeah, he's done really, really well. He's one of the lowest, which is also quite worrying for the other guys. And then Murray at 4.3, and that's obviously the raw watts factor. Obviously, there's a lot of flats on this course. So the bigger guys, the ones who can drive bigger raw watts on the front, they're going to have a lower watts per kilogram average, and obviously the lighter guys, someone like Eddie's going to have a lot higher watts per kilogram because he has to put out more power relative to what they're doing.
Well, and he attacked the com. I mean, makes sense that he would have had to do more work.
Yeah, but also another sort of interesting sort of fact here, all the heart rates at present are very similar. Mid 140s, there's a couple in the 150s, and some of the older guys are in the 130s. So everyone's pretty much on the same suffering level at the moment.
Well, Rick Sorensen's in his 60s, and his heart rate's in the 160s.
He's got to be near max. He's got to be near max.
This is hard.
Yeah, it looks like they've started their second lap.
Yes. We passed the sprint a while ago.
So we're into the business end of the race, and we can expect this group to whittle down even more. It's going to be a war of attrition. We're probably going to say, I'm not going to make a prediction now, Sean, but I'm going to say that by the time they crest the Petit Com for the second time, there's going to be 4 riders off the front. I'm making that call.
Okay, but which 4? That's the call.
Stole it out of my mouth.
Okay.
I definitely think Lecoq's going to be part of that 4.
Yes, he is. Who else?
Gustavo Aquino, Eddie Cool.
Yeah.
Yes. And?
Marino, Janssen van Rensburg.
Yeah. 4, 5.
So I've got...
Those are the ones that I think will do well. Just looking at their power profile, just looking at their 1 minute and their 5 minute power, those 5 are going to monster the latter part of that climb, without a doubt. 20-minute power in a race like this is irrelevant. It makes it's null and void in a race like this. It's your 5 minute power and your 1 minute power, and those are the riders we're going to see excel today.
Well, let me tell you, if there's anyone watching that has never seen this before, it seems fairly easy. we're chatting about these guys. You can see them up on the screen there. Their wheels are glowing. It looks quite petite and quite nice. But let me tell you, I rode literally 20 Ks last night. It is torture. It does mimic the real world when you're on something like the Elite. The name that you see in the corner of your screen there, trust me, folks, it's a lot of hard work. If you've never tried it, go get yourself onto one of those Elites, get to any one of your local bike shops, go check it out, and go and test it out for yourself. I have a lot of guys that chirped me over last season through summer saying, this Masters SSEs looks pretty easy. Let me tell you, folks, it is not easy. It's a tough job. And if you look at the other screen, unfortunately, we don't have him on there now, but we've got a live feed from Eddie Cool. The man's out of the saddle probably 98% of this race. And these guys putting out watts of what was your average there, Aaron? What you were saying the last 27 Ks it was?
Yeah, at the lowest is 4.3 watts a kilogram, but for the Masters series, that is low. Just because of the nature of this course, the guys are riding within themselves, but we're going to see those numbers go up once they hit the aqueduct. And from there to the end, it's going to be a full-out effort.
Yeah, and then it's just monster watts all the time. And we say sustainable watts. I don't know how sustainable it is, but these guys seem to sustain those high numbers all the time. You'll see it in what is your top left-hand corner. You can actually see it there now, 221, 235, 256. And you can see the average now, we're on David Garrett, RPM is between 60 and 75 is what he runs it at. So incredible stuff. If you've never witnessed it before, trust me, it's a lot of hard work.
Yeah, the guys have got a beautiful pace line going here. I mean, okay, there was something strange that happened there, and someone swerved for a...
it was a banana peel.
It was Omi and Oppie.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to make the speed just go a little bit fast. I mean, the gap is now, there's 16 seconds back to Roland, it seems.
Okay, well, let's get back to... Look at
Murray
this group. Wow, these guys are doing phenomenally well.
These guys are shunting. They want to get back on. Really good to see. I mean, this is good that they're sharing the load and they're willing to do the work. You can see Tim Hook there on the front pumping out over 4 watts a kilogram.
Mr. Franschuk.
Yeah.
Jaco Davel, Oscar Klute, Michael Rowland.
I mean, in that Innsbruck race, the one that I did while commentating, when I lost contact up on the Innsbruck Com, when I fell back and there were a group of riders with me, the only guy prepared to work was Roland. And he was putting out some big watts, Michael Rowland. So good to see him here. He's been showing his improvement week in, week out. Are they going to bring it back? They're 14 seconds back. That gap is minimizing, guys. That's half that gap.
13 seconds. Amazing.
Michael Potton's in there as well.
Yes, Michael Potton's in there as well. I saw him.
Hey, Mr. Potton. Good to see that name. I miss these guys from the real world, and wouldn't mind getting to see them at a race event again very soon.
Okay, back to the front. Oh, what's happening here?
Nothing up front there. Eddie Cool has decided to do something because there's orange numbers going ballistic here.
It looks like this Zarimba was attacking and Eddie closed the gap to him.
To close the gap and carry on with this. This is more of a tactic to string out the bunch and just to hurt those guys that are just managing to hold on. It's a clever move. It's a clever move, but there's still a long way to go.
Nice to see Murray Krebs still in there as well.
Yep. This is Murray's course, man. This is Murray's home turf. He loves this course.
He's sitting up a bit. They're gonna bring him back right now.
It is out of his saddle now. The teeth are grinding again.
One moment it strings out, and the next moment they're all working together again.
Yep. That would have, I don't know how many of the guys are listening to the commentary feed, but It's almost as if they've heard that there's a chasing group coming and they're 13 seconds back, and they're extending that lead. It got up to 16 and now it's coming down again. So interesting. Because these guys are going to want to keep this group as small as possible. They don't want another 15 guys joining this.
No, never.
Because there's some big sprinters in the group coming from behind, relatively speaking.
Guys, just before we get to this let's chat about our sponsors.
Yeah, let's do that.
You want to go
Guys
for
that
it,
make
Sean?
this all possible. Yeah, let's start with the name that we saw up on your screen a little while ago, Mark Kavanagh, riding with that Uwe Kuter. So I thought I'd start with them. Uwe Kuter do such an amazing job. A big thanks to the team from Uwe Kuter. Some amazing prizes. I'll cross back to you for that, but I just wanted to mention, obviously, Elite and Powerbar, two very close guys to my heart. Obviously, Elite letting me use this amazing tool that's right next to me, and getting a bit of time on that Elite Director at the moment. That's an amazing prize that these guys will be winning. It's the Sweeter that they'll be winning. When is that announcement going to be made? Have you got any more details on that?
I'm hoping to do that the week after next, Sean. Well, we'll be doing that the week after next, yes. So just collate the results after next week, and then we'll do a bit of a shindig.
Super exciting. That was probably the highlight of last year, just watching that handover and a prize, an amazing prize valued at 18,000 Rand that's going to be going to one of our lucky contestants that's raced most of our races here with us over the season. Then, of course, there we go up on your screen now. I'm going to hand over back to the man that knows a little bit more about the trainer. There you go.
So if you've missed the gap for for winning in the lucky draw and not tuning in anyway, go to N Squared's website. So N Squared are the distributor for Elite locally, and using the discount code Masters SA10, you can get a 10% discount on any of these amazing trainers. So it turns a good deal into a great deal. And I believe 13.5 is the best you're going to do on a Suto T anywhere in South Africa that I've found in any case. And in doing so, the sponsors will see our audience supporting them, and in turn continue to support us. So it'd be grand if you guys can funnel some funds in that direction. There's a lot of winter left. There's a lot of Masters racing left, and this is an amazing tool to have in your study, in your training room, so you can get onto Zwift and race with us, and train in a more structured fashion as well.
Totally agree. It's a lot safer as well, and as you can see, it folds away nice and compact, so it won't get in the way of the wife or the kids. You can stow it away quite nice and easily. Of course, Powerbar, the man in the middle of your screen, he's always got that amazing cap on. Trevor, we're still waiting for ours as co-commentators. No, I'm only joking. Powerbar, it is an amazing product. I know that all two of the guys above my head, they train on it. I know for a fact that Cobus has had a long-standing agreement with them, and there you go. If you use the code RDX Cycling, you'll receive 15% discount. Obviously on selected stores, Powerbar.
Well, everything on the website. Anything they stock.
There we go. So very cool. I've had the privilege of riding with them in 2016. They looked after me for a while. So big thanks to Trevor. And I know since the beginning of this series last year, when we went into that initial lockdown, they were the first guys on board. So to the big man himself, Trevor, thank you very much if you are watching. Big shout out from myself, the rest of the crew, and of course everyone in the background that make this happen. We thank you for that. Then of course RDX, I'm going to hand this one back to Cobus. He knows them a little bit more personally.
Just on the race, I see a couple of guys went for the sprint, which strung out this bunch, and now we have one rider off the back, trying desperately to get back on. It looks like it's Rick Sorensen. he's the only one who didn't manage to get back onto the group. It's dangerous, these sprint situations. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's what I mentioned before, Quibus. It's just you have to, even if you're not contesting the sprint, you have to put the power down because it's going to get strung out and you're going to get distance. It's a horrible situation to be in, even if you're not a sprinter, but you have to put that power down. And now poor old Rick finds himself having to put down some extra power just to make contact again.
He seems to be getting back on.
Just before you went into the sponsors, well, we've got the aqueduct. I'll get into that after this section here. This is going to be decisive. For Rick to make it back, he's going to have to put in a monumental Herculean effort here, because the guys aren't messing around now. This is the business end of the race. This is going to define what we're going to see on the next climb. So the usual guys are there. There's Donovan.
Donovan just used the featherweight power up just so he could make the cut over the aqueduct. Give yourself the best chance.
Guys, I know at the top of the other climb, but if these guys race wisely, they can cause a gap here. It's going to need an extra effort from everyone. They've got to be committed to the break, but it can happen.
It's mostly the guys we called.
Yeah. No one wants to get left behind. They've all put in a little extra surge of orange watts just to get back on. And they're going to need to keep accelerating and then obviously try and use a bit of the super tuck. There's a slight section to use it, but that obviously also has a slightly negative impact if the terrain happens to flatten out and you super tucked and the guys put the power down.
I think exactly what you said just happened there, Aaron. Sorensen, Rick, he got in touch just as the guys were hitting the climb, and then just exploded because he didn't have any more matches to match those hard efforts.
Yeah, these guys know the threat that Rick poses, so I'm sure they would have had it at the back of their minds as well when putting down that power. Just going back on what I mentioned before. The chasing group got within 5 seconds. They got within 5 seconds, and then the sprint happened, and then it opened up again.
So, now it's 25.
Yeah, there's some really good work being put in by Michael Rowland, Peter Herbst, and Michael Potton. They were rotating, trying to get into contact. I thought they were going to do it, but the sprint obviously thwarted their effort.
Separated them, yeah. It just shows you the type of power that these guys can put out to make, 20 seconds in there.
Yeah.
While the guys are chasing hard behind them. It's not like it was a stationary target.
Yeah, it's not like they got off the gas.
but this next climb, guys, it's going to be absolutely brutal. We're going to see the true colors showing here. Fists are going to be flying. It's going to be a battle royal up here. We're going to see orange numbers. Nobody wants to be thrown out the back. And I got a good feeling we're going to see a lot of green jerseys get to the top of this climb.
I presume, as you said right in the beginning, when we went into that second lap, that this will whittle down to around about 45 riders, which we called going to be quite an interesting one. In fact, I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah.
This is a more exciting finish. We've been lacking them, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it brings a nice dynamic to the race. I know that it's probably going to be a couple of climbers contesting a sprint. It would have been nice to bring in one of those all-rounders like Tiens, as I mentioned. If he did want to come to the party, we know he'd be mixing it up here. But he's one of those guys that has a supreme power profile. If you look at what he can do in a sprint, he's 1 minute, 5 minute, 20-minute power. He's up there with the very, very best, and he's got the national titles to prove it.
You could just spot the chasing group in the background there. That's the first time I've seen them again.
Yes. So they aren't giving up, which is good, but
19 seconds.
The efforts are going to be, it's not going to be worth it because the climb is, the winner's coming from the climb and the winner's coming from this group. But really, really great effort by the chasing group. It's good to see it. We haven't seen that kind of animation in the last few weeks, so it's nice that they actually feel that they can chase and get back on.
Nice to have a bit of competition, isn't it? It's really Really good to see everyone put in a hard effort. For those complaining about these climbing routes, the ninth race, which we've had to add because of all of the, between load shedding and Mercury Islands going wonko on us live. We added a very cool race for next week. While we were doing the tussle, one of our favorite courses was that flat volcano loop. It's almost like a circuit race, and part of the reason we stopped doing it is it doesn't have any hotspots. But there's a new course that we're going to be introducing next week, which we haven't raced before, which does in fact have that hotspot and is very similar in nature. So I'm hoping to see the guys of Voldu and Rudy and Tiens feature a bit more, because it's certainly something that suits them. Certainly something that will suit the Killarney champion as well.
Yeah.
Chance, if you're listening, please, mate, make an appearance. Make an appearance. We know what you can do. Come on.
Well,
I've been waiting all season. I've been waiting all season for it.
He is in the points jersey. He is in the points jersey, guys. Are you going to tell that to Mark Cavendish as well?
Mark Cavendish can't climb though. So.
No. Cannot.
Well,
You did it.
Here it is. Here's the climb. They're going straight into it. A little bit of orange numbers there. You can see Murray's up front. Eddie, Gustavo, Jacques Rief as well. Jacques been riding really, really well.
Gustavo's attacking. He's left it to here. Now he's going.
Very, very bold move. Very bold move. I can see Cristiano and Eddie sort of inching their watts per kilogram up a touch. I think it's a bit too soon on this climb, guys. There's a lot of switchbacks coming.
He's going to stretch those legs out a little bit too far.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
How hot does he run? He's at 190 BPM.
This is pretty much where he's at. He can maybe stretch it to another 5 BPM. But that's already VO2. It's past VO2. I mean, his lungs are going to be screaming here.
But he's got a good gap, eh? 5 seconds.
Behind him.
Yeah, he's got a 5-second gap, but it's closable. It's closable on a climb like this.
Yeah. Well, there we go. There's David Garrett. There's Janssen from Rensburg.
Eddie.
Cool.
Yeah. Eddie and Christian, if they can work this together, they can catch him.
They'll really mean, yeah.
But Jason Powell is trying to stay with it, bringing it all together. Let's see what happens here, guys. Murray's still in the mix as well.
Donovan's still there. Come on. It's amazing.
These guys need to work together on the flat sections between the switchbacks, if they can. It looks like Eddie doesn't want to wait around. He wants to get onto Aquino's wheel. He has pulled it out. He stretched it to 9 seconds. And he's just holding 7 watts a kilogram. Unbelievable. Eddie
You
too.
can still see Aquino there.
Yeah. You can see him in the distance.
Eddie's got a very serious look on his face right now, looking very cool out the saddle. I heard he actually cut his seat post off completely because he never sits down.
Yeah, just to save weight.
Yeah. There we go. Christian's putting out, unloading 7.5 watts a kilogram. Yeah. Eddie needs to stay with Christian here. These guys are not messing around. Matthijsen is trying his hardest to stay on the wheel, but Gustavo is still sitting at 9 seconds, 7.2 watts, pushing that up to 8. Orange numbers by Gustavo. I know these two can do it. The 2 green jerseys, the young men, they can take it to Gustavo, but they're going to need to work. Oh, look at that long line of riders.
Yeah, nice little train of guys working together.
Guys are hanging in there. It's amazing. You can still see Gustavo, but his gap's up to 10 seconds now. I don't know if they're going to bring him back.
Okay, this is where someone needs to make a call here. So Eddie, Christian, whoever's racing, who's ever sitting in this bunch, if you guys raced cleverly, kept this pace, right? Used it over the ascent, pushed the pace hard on the descent, snowball effect, super tuck, you've consumed it, Gustavo, and then 1 or 2 of you attack immediately as you reel them in. That's what these guys need to do. I know we said we're probably going to see 4 to 5 guys over the top, which could essentially still happen. But if there's any chance of catching Gustavo, you're going to need at least 6 to 8 guys on the top to reeling him in on that descent because he can't do it alone on that descent.
Well, that's exactly what they have, it looks like.
Yep.
Yeah, still.
Gustav has gone over the top.
Van
Here we
Rensburg?
go. Here we go.
Yeah, he's gone over
Eddie.
the top.
They got to push. Come on, guys. Push over the top. Push, push, push. You can
Come
do it.
on, guys. Sure. These two alone aren't going to do it. They need the rest of that group, I think, to bring Gustavo back.
They can, but they're going to cook their legs on the descent when you could be using the super tuck because Gustavo is pushing. He's not going to the super tuck. He's pushing 2.5 watts a kilogram. So he's still pedaling. It's not efficient. He's not going to be going faster than guys in the super tuck. So it's pivotal that these guys, I mean, they've already brought it back to what? They've brought it back by 1 second. Yeah.
Well, not much further to go.
Nope, not at all. These guys actually need to start, they need to pull finger now if they're going to catch Gustavo.
Yeah.
Gustavo's lit it up again there with orange numbers. Eddie's decided it's time to go. He's done it as well. Christian as well. They know.
Yeah. Just saw the change down of the gears there now from Eddie, and now just super serious. Click another gear down. Janssen van Rensburg with him now.
Oh, this
Then
is
just
going to be so
They need to
tight.
go. 7
Yeah.
seconds, they brought it back. If there are two, there's more guys joining the fray.
Here's the group
There's more
now.
guys.
The whole group
Oh.
is there. This is the speed you need. Gustavo, you're in trouble, mate. You're in trouble. He knows that he's lit it up into orange again.
8-second lead.
But there's 6 of them and you need 6, and there's a little bit more of the descent to come. Gustavo has to put down watts. He knows what's happening. He knows he can be consumed by this bunch.
And Van Rensburg's still there with Hull.
It doesn't really
Someone-
look like they're working.
No.
Maybe they're just marking each other for second place now.
Now someone needs to go now. They have to go now. You have to attack.
Now looking at the map, they don't have much more to go. The rest of the guys are there with them as well.
No, they don't. They've got about 1 kilometer, 1.2 kilometers left.
Yeah.
That's all that's left in this. It's going to be an hour of racing today. Gustavo's still in the upper echelons of the 180s. And he's grown that to 11 seconds. It's not over yet, but someone needs to move now, right now.
No, I think they're marking each other.
Yeah. That silence means we're watching that screen.
At least we are in for a bunch sprint for second place. We haven't had many of those.
Watching both screens at the moment.
It is tapping off a little here, which is usually indicative of an imminent attack or flurry of words.
Yeah,
Now, Gustavo's
he's
going for it.
keeping it cool.
Yeah,
I think
he's-
Gustavo's
just
about
look
to
at where
take
he-
it.
I love the way Gustavo rides. I mean, I have to say it. Being able to sort of just roll the dice and be confident enough to go with the move you've laid ahead of yourself. It's impressive.
And today was clever, I must say.
It was. I didn't expect it. He caught us all by surprise. Brilliant effort. Great ride.
I'm just surprised he could maintain that.
Okay, he's hitting this final sprint with a 15-second lead. There is no way they're catching him.
No.
Yeah, there's the finish. Well done, Gustavo.
Yep.
Our
so
winner
then
today.
The bunch.
Let's get back
Here
to
we
the
go.
group here.
There we go. There's Eddie lighting up orange. He's going. He's decided to go 11 watts a kilogram, 12 watts a kilogram. Anyone else coming? Christian coming, Marino coming. It's just that orange lit up battle here. Can Christian get Eddie on the line? It looks
Christian's
like
ahead.
Fire up, power up. Marino's coming. Eddie gets third. Marino fourth. Brilliant racing. That's what we want to see. That's what
Well
we want.
done. Well done.
Yeah,
That was
some
great.
exciting racing here today.
And quite exciting for the local
Yeah.
competition as well.
Christian finding some superb form. Perhaps we're going to see another purple patch of form coming through from Christian, but really good to see him jostling it out there with Eddie Hull and Gustavo and some of the top lads in the Zwift realm.
Well, congratulations, guys. It was nice to see such a big group contesting for the finish.
Yeah, it was a bit of a chess battle out there.
Definitely.
Very, very strategic. We're nice to get a lot more teams involved, so they can communicate over Discord and just one up each other. When you're riding and you don't have any communications with the riders among you, apart from the chat, it's really hard to preempt or be sort of telepathic, if you want to call it that, in what's happening.
Yeah.
I do think they could have caught Gustavo. I do think that. But at the end of the day, a podium place is a little bit more important to them than hunting down the man who likes to roll the dice.
And look, I mean, the South Africans all in a separate competition, which is some significant prize money attached to it as well. So risking it all to catch Gustavo is perhaps secondary to scoring well relative to the other South Africans.
It's clever riding.
Guys, my second feed has crashed on me, so I'm afraid I can't go back to the ladies racing. That's on me, I guess. Apologies for that. We managed to get so caught up in the race, I forgot to cover the remaining sponsors. So thank you to RDX and Team RDX in particular, all your support. You guys have been phenomenal in supporting cycling in the northern suburbs, and it's really great to have you on board for the series. Thank you for that. For Mark, which is distributed by Bicycle Gear, I've got a discount code for those guys as well. Thanks so much, Eve and the team, getting on board. If you guys wanna support them and through that support us, go to bicyclegear.co.za, use the discount code #RDXcycling at checkout, and you will get a nice discount. And then, of course, thank you to Cape Multisport Club for hosting all of this and putting all of it together. And thank you to my co-hosts, Aaron Burrell of Toyota Cryogen and Cycling News, and Sean Peters of Sean Peters Media.
Thanks, guys. And again, a massive race this evening, probably the most exciting to come out of this specific series. Thanks to all the riders. You make it very exciting on a Wednesday evening to sit in and watch. And of course, I always say a big thanks again to the sponsors, and of course the man at the top of your screen, Kobus, for being the maestro behind what is a tough job when trying to do a stream like this. So big thanks to you, and of course to our other co-commentator all the way from England, sitting in a heat wave, Aaron Burrell. Great to have you on board as usual, and I cannot wait to see you guys next week, Wednesday.
It's going to be an exciting one next week, guys.
Thanks, Sean. Thanks for this. Looking forward to this week's battle.
Fantastic. Thanks, everyone. Have a great evening.
Yeah. Have a good one, guys.